Hey guys, welcome back to the Hez Project. I'm John Rodolaza, and I'm going to be reviewing the first 8 episodes of Jupiter's Legacy. Let's talk about it. Jupiter's Legacy is based off of a comic book series created by Mark Millar and another guy whose name I'm blanking on at the moment. It's all published under Image Comics, and when it comes to them, I'm not really well versed in that. I don't read a whole lot of comics, but I do appreciate the hell out of their content. Kick-Ass, Invincible, especially those Kick-Ass movies and the Invincible season that we just got on Prime Video. Holy crap. It's some of the best content I've ever seen in the comic book world. Like, it's different. It's very different from what Marvel and DC are doing. They're the big players, but these guys managed to bring it back down to reality and hit home on a more personal level. That's what I really love about Invincible and Kick-Ass, and I was hoping to get that kind of feel with Jupiter's Legacy. Before I begin my review, I would like to say I was very fortunate enough to get early access to the first episode of Jupiter's Legacy, so I very much appreciate that experience. It was really cool. And then I spent the rest of the weekend, digesting the rest of the season, so I got my thoughts. And I'm not really impressed with this show. It was massively underwhelming in my opinion. My biggest gripe with this show is its non-linear storytelling, because I feel like it wastes its time doing this. Now, it cuts back and forth with the present day, showing all these veteran heroes. You can see they're all old and grizzled, like the main guy, Sheldon, who plays Utopian. He's the one with the long white hair and the dope white and red outfit. Like, all of the costume designs look incredible. So it focuses on them in the present day as they're old, dealing with their kids who they want to pass the torch on to, but their kids are feeling a little indifferent. Meanwhile, this show cuts its runtime in half with the present day and the 1920s. That's where the parents are all from. They were born back in the day, and it shows their journey into how they became these heroes. It sounds interesting, but it wasn't. It was not executed very well in my eyes. I found myself very bored and very tuned out of the show. Like, I didn't realize that I was looking at my phone, but when I looked back on the screen, it was this 1920s crap. I just wanted to see the cool stuff from the present day, because they gave us nothing. This isn't a big spoiler, but there is a cool battle in the first episode. I'm like, all right, this isn't overly impressive to me, but I would like to see more of this. After that battle in the first episode, I found this show plateauing drastically. It struggled to keep me engaged. While there are some really cool messages throughout the story, I felt like the way they went about telling this story was just not very engaging. Some things that the show has going for, I think the music is very well done. The theme song to it is really cool. It harkens back to Daredevil, like the Netflix series Daredevil. Sounds really incredible. I love that theme. And the cinematography of the show is really good. It's so beautiful. Some of the shots in the show are really beautiful, and that's what keeps me engaged, not this non-linear bullcrap that really tunes me out. Besides Josh Duhamel and Leslie Bibb, I was not really familiar with anybody else in the show, so I'm going into this expecting, all right, hopefully they pick the right people to bring these characters to life, and honestly, I think all these actors did a fine job. They were casted very well. I do appreciate the son of Utopian. He's kind of cool. I wish we got more of him though, because it felt like he hit a stride in the first episode and he kind of plateaued. That's what I feel like. There was a lot that happened in that first episode, and I just felt like the show halted up until the last 2 episodes. And that sucks. To have a show that's only 8 episodes long, you can't do that. The shows that we're getting nowadays on streaming, like Mandalorian and The Boys, and now Jupiter's Legacy, they're all around 8 to 10 episodes, so you have to keep us engaged for these 8 episodes, especially when you're gonna release them weekly. You got to. And I'm really glad this wasn't released weekly. I don't like to be the one to say, oh, this would be better to watch binged, or this would be better if it was spread across weekly. I don't like to be that person. There are properties that I would appreciate if I could get every week, like Cobra Kai. I would love if that was weekly, but unfortunately Netflix just wanted to drop the whole season at once, so that's fine. I can just binge it all in one day. That's cool. I'm a big Cobra Kai fan. I think I would have found myself struggling even more to appreciate this show if it was released weekly, because I don't know, I really don't like the middle of this season. It's very slow, very drawn out, and I don't like it. There's a really cool juxtaposition between the heroes of old, Josh Duhamel, Leslie Bibb, and their old gang of the Union. I think that's what they're called. It's really cool to see how they differ from their kids. Their kids they kind of get more of the focus in the first half of the show. You see the kids cope with the whole set way, the code of Utopian, and how he sees superheroes should be doing things, and that was really cool. I really did enjoy that dynamic. I wanted more of it, but unfortunately I felt like it was bogged down dramatically by the stupid 1920s crap that I just didn't care about. Yeah, cool, origins are awesome, but dude, wrap it up, man. Come on, it took forever to get to the flashback in the last 2 episodes. I felt like it just took forever. I kept comparing this to Arrow and how Arrow had a little bit of non-linear storytelling throughout the first few seasons. I didn't watch all of Arrow, but I used to be a big fan of it though. When they would go back to these flashbacks and show Oliver Queen on the island that he was deserted on for years, I think 5 years they said, but those flashbacks never took up half the episode or overshadowed the storyline that was going on in the present day. That's what I feel like happened in Jupiter's Legacy. That's also the risk you take with writing a story that's supposed to be non-linear. You know, Man of Steel did use scenes with young Clark Kent mostly in the beginning, and they would cut back to it a couple more times in the film. And with Deadpool, they kind of did a little non-linear thing, but it worked. A really cool example is Better Call Saul. They use flashbacks and even flash forwards very well. They don't use them for half their episodes. I just feel like it was a detriment to Jupiter's Legacy, and I really feel like they need to cut down on that crap for season 2 if you guys get a season 2. Overall, this show was very underwhelming to me, and I struggled to be engaged with it every episode. I really did like the last episode. There were some really cool things that they set up with that, but it took forever to get to that point, and I just feel like the show feels bloated and heavy with all that flashback crap from the 1920s. You know, some shows will have that oddball episode where they'll do something different to kind of set up something. Like Walking Dead has a couple of these where they'll just focus primarily on the backstory of one of the characters. They did that with the governor. I'm sure they did that recently with Negan. I haven't seen it, so don't spoil it for me, guys. But yeah, they could have easily done a whole episode of the flashback stuff, and I would have been fine with that. Do one flashback scene in every episode, just one, but then have an episode of like entirely all flashback. That would have been nice. The way they went about it in this show was just not for me, and yeah, they failed to keep me engaged. But anyways, guys, let me know down below, have you gotten a chance to check out Jupiter's Legacy? Have you heard of it? Have you ever read the comics? Let me know down below. Like, what did they change? Like, what's really cool in the comics that they didn't do in this show? I want to know. Let me know down below in the comment section. Leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new. If you haven't checked out yet, I did a reaction video on the brand new trailer for Venom, Let There Be Carnage. I believe it's going to come out later this year, September-ish. In the lead up to the sequel, I will be covering the 2018 Venom film that I didn't ask for and I don't necessarily appreciate afterwards, but the special effects look good. I really do appreciate Venom. He does look incredible in that movie, but it can look better next to Spider-Man. Be sure to stick around for the rest of the week, guys. I got a bunch of videos planned. Don't go anywhere because there's always more to come.